Hello there. The footage you're watching right now was originally meant for one of those funny compilation videos that the kids love these days, that I was planning on making. But for reasons I'm about to go into, I don't think it'll ever be coming out. See, what you're seeing right now, just on top of the wind turbine, that was about 50 frames per second, and this is about 30. I'm saying this afterward the fact, so I don't have the frame rates in front of me, but I can kind of remember what things were like. And right here, it was, about 30, maybe slightly above. It was going fine. In fact, this that you're watching right now is the best this game has ever run for me, which is kind of what I'm wanting to talk about, and what you'll see later on. Because here, everything that I'm doing, it's working fine. Whether I was flying through a big open space, driving a car and completely failing at going around the corner, completely fine. Then here in this other car, again, completely fine, no problems. I mean, there's not much going on, so you wouldn't expect there to be many problems, but maybe if, say, there was a large explosion effect happening right in the middle of the screen, followed by another explosion effect, followed by player characters and pieces and physics objects flying all over the place. You'd expect that would be more likely to cause frame rate issues, but it didn't in this case, which is the interesting part. You see, if I just had a low frame rate the entire time, I'd be like, oh, I guess my machine's not good enough. But, that's not quite the issue at hand. And again, more explosions, and lots of particle effects right in there, just really hammering the point home that I wasn't trying to, but it happens that all the things that I recorded here hammered the point home that everything's working fine. Nothing is causing a problem at this moment. Different area, and just one last bit of showing you the good stuff. Flying through that big open area, fine. Okay, now from here on is where things get interesting, because, well, you might have just noticed a second ago, as I landed, it had a little bit of a jump. And that kind of jump it had, and there's a couple more in a few seconds coming up that you might see. Those kind of little jumps are what I generally am dealing with when playing this game, which shouldn't be happening, because the game is running at about 30 frames per second normally. My PC's not the best. And before anyone says anything, I have almost everything put down to the lowest settings, apart from the filtering, which is set to 4, and what's the other one? Anti-aliasing, which is set to FX, AA. Everything else is either turned off or put to the lowest setting if it's not something you can turn off. But ignoring all that stuff about textures, this is yeah. That other part was interesting, this next part is ridiculous. And not the good kind of ridiculous. Once I stopped messing about this map, what I was doing in this is showing off one of the cool things of the game, where you can get someone to drive for you, which is something I've had done before, and not had the problem that I'm about to have.
That does not mean I've forgotten.
You might have noticed then, frame rate started to drop a little bit more. It'll be a bit more apparent in just a few moments. Trust me. That is, if you haven't noticed already, that the frame rate is dead. And before it gets to this part just here, right now, yes, that is actually a problem with the recording, not with the game itself, but everything else, after that little point there, where it froze, is a problem with the game itself. And this was unplayable, even by this point, but I was still trying to see if I could get it fixed, if it would fix itself, which it didn't. And there is no good reason for that. I did do some research afterwards. Apparently this is something that is affecting consoles as well as PC games. If I remember to, I'll put a link to the article I saw. That kind of made me aware that this wasn't just my problem when I tried to look it up. Apparently it's something to do with... oh, I can't even remember. Something to do with RAM and memory overflows, I think? I can't remember exactly what it said, but basically it might be a problem with the game. Now, if you've got a beefy computer, you probably won't notice. But it's the problem that I'm having with this game, and it's not too much of a problem most of the time. This is an extreme example. This is the worst it has ever been, or well, in about, I don't know, couple of minutes maybe? I don't know how much I'm going to cut out. It gets a whole lot worse. It really does. But that is the worst it's ever been. But the problem is, not to say like, oh, I'll play it for a bit, and then the frame rate will tank, and then when I start it up again it'll be fine again, and then the frame rate will tank, and then when I start it up again the frame rate will be fine, and then it will tank. I'll start it up, and every few seconds, or maybe every 10 or a dozen seconds, there'll be a slight, like part of a second, like split second, that's the word, nice one brain, where the frame rate will go down by about 5 frames or something, maybe slightly more. But because it's so often, and this is the game where you need to be precise, like doing things like what's happening right now, flying up into the air with the tethery. My brain, I think the lack of frame rate has fried my brain. And so now here I am driving. The audio had just cut out before here. Fun fact. I thought that maybe switching to the driver's seat might try and fix it slightly. It didn't work. No. Again, this is kind of the problem. What you're seeing here is that it's alternating, and this is a more extreme version, but it's alternating between going at a decent frame rate and then basically stopping every few seconds or every dozen seconds, and creating a really juttery feeling, and it's not fun when it's doing that. And it's not always doing that, but when it does, it's annoying. It happens a bit too often. So as of right now, I have about 5 hours in this game, and it's been fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's been fun. But you are going to be getting these judgery problems. I don't think I'm the only person who's had it, actually, now I think about it, because I've just remembered that Quill18 did a video before this game came out, and one problem that a lot of people in the comments said, and they found it unwatchable because of this same problem. I remember because I didn't actually watch that video, but I read the comments for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm sorry, Quill. I'll watch some of your other stuff instead to make up for it. Yeah, if you're watching this, Quill, nice, cool. Leave a comment. Just you leaving a comment will cause more people to watch my video, probably. I don't know. It probably works like that, doesn't it? I don't know. And PewDiePie, while you're at it, comment on my videos as well. It's... I don't know. Who else is big on YouTube? Who's the big people? I don't know. Oh, planes. That's an important thing. For some reason, things like planes and helicopters seem to be the most likely things to have the problem and exacerbate the problem. Not always, though. Helicopters, for some reason, they've actually seemed to be getting better over time, but, I mean, I don't think I've flown a plane successfully once, really. This is not successful. You cannot call... This is... I was being told it was going at 6 frames a second by this point. I think it's bullshitting. I've played Minecraft at 2 frames per second, and it felt about the same as this. So, I think it's bullshitting when it's saying 6 frames per second. But there you have it. I'm just letting this run on. You can leave now if you want. There's not much going on. How much is left? Let's see. No, a few seconds. I mean, you get to see the worst crash in the world. Like, it should be interesting, but it's the most boring crash ever because of this frame stop. But yeah, it's a good game. If you've got a good computer, it will work on it. But thank you for watching, and bye.